I love, there's a song in my soul when you are around me. You make it easier to sing, so we can feel forever. Yeah, feel together, be real together, and no one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. With every fading sunset, we see the stars align. We make the simple moments last for a lifetime, so we can feel forever. You and me together.
สบายดีทุกท่านยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่รายการข้อมูลสู่ความบันเทิง เดี๋ยวดีเจเป็นยัง น้องมื้อนี้ทำหน้าที่ดำเนินรายการโดยข้าพเจ้าดีเจดาราเพชรแสงสุริวงศ์มื้อนี้มาพร้อมกับแขกรับเชิญที่ว่าพิเศษท่านผู้ฟังพิเศษอีหลีเพราะว่าเพิ่นนี่แม่นบินตรงมาจากประเทศอเมริกาShe's from America, United States แสดงวัน1 ชั่วโมงนี่ดีเจขออนุญาตเว้าสนทนากับเพิ่นเป็นภาษาอังกฤษเนาะมื้อนี้นะหัวข้อเฮานี่แม่นถือว่าน่าสนใจหลายคือก่อนที่เฮาจะเริ่มแต่เฮาต้องสวิตช์ภาษากันนิดนึงเดี๋ยวปรับโหมดก่อนปรับโหมดโอเคลาวเป็นอังกฤษโอเค start So we're gonna speak English in this whole 1 hour but before we start I want to throw one question to all of you.Have you ever thought about using art to promote the social change, especially raise awareness about wildlife? Tick tock, tick tock. If you say no, I haven't think about that, so you need to watch this episode. If you say that yes, I'm always thinking of this idea, you have to watch this EP. If our listeners say that I have no idea about that.I highly recommend you that this guest today, she's super interesting. She's American. She's a jewelry designer, but she's also interested in wildlife conservation. Oh, okay. So today, if you just only think that only people who work directly with wildlife conservation or people who are environmentalists only can do and raise awareness about it, but she does in the opposite way. She's a jewelry designer, but she also working on wildlife conservation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Michele Benjamin.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
So, how do you feel? How was your day?
Everything was great. We made a lot of art. Yes, at the American Center. And it was very exciting for the students and myself to explore new ways to convey the message to save wildlife.
Wow.
And so we used a lot of different media, mixed media, and in the form of metal mesh and clay, beads, and wire, and all different interesting materials, very new to the students. So it was really a pleasure to teach them and to see their reactions throughout the day.
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds very interesting for me.
Yeah.
I feel sorry that I can't join the workshop today. But I hope you enjoy and you see good things happen.
Absolutely. In fact, it's continuing tomorrow. So if you'd like to stop by, we'd love to see you.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
could just like tell us when and
Yes.
where?
At the American Center.
American Center.
Yeah. And it's from 9 until about, I think, 3:30. 9 a.m.
9
Yes.
a.m. of course.
Yeah.
No. 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay. If
Yes.
our listeners out there, if you are interested in wildlife conservation and
Yes.
you want to create some art pieces, you can join the workshop tomorrow.
Yes, definitely. And so, well, actually what we did was we started out using the wildlife photos of the wonderful animals that we're trying to save. So, including sun bears, pangolins, the articolored squirrels, and more. So it was just and the snow leopard, snow cloud leopard. Yeah.
Oh.
So it was very exciting.
Okay, guys, if you're listening now, don't miss them out for tomorrow. But
Yeah.
today we want to know more about you. May I call you Michelle?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, Michelle, we want to know more about you and you only.
Okay. Fire away.
Are you ready for
Sure.
sharing with us
Absolutely.
about your life? We want to know before you get in this business.
Yes.
How was your life back then, and why did you decide to be a jewelry designer?
Well, I've always been interested in jewelry and art. I did study art. I have an art history degree from Arizona State University. And well before I was even in the business world, I was an artist, and I made all kinds of different mixed media, silk screens, drawings. I would go to the museums and draw and sketch, and I majored in art history. So as an art student, I was also under the influence of wanting to do something in the arts. So after college, I worked at a Madison Avenue art gallery, and I worked with an art dealer for several years, and it was very interesting. And even then, they specialized in Picasso prints and Leger, but they also had jewelry. So we would have trade shows, and we would wear the beautiful medallions made by Picasso in solid gold and Leger pins. And so, I just loved jewelry. So I took a class, and I learned all the different methods, and I found that it was just really something that held my interest, and I just loved it. So there were some times where I was in the corporate world, but I always wanted to have my own business. So I did learn a lot about business from working for other companies, and I just found that it was really interesting for me to try it on my own, so I decided to do that. And I've been very happy.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think it was a really good decision.
I think so.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so
So now you are full-time business.
full-time for several years. And
Wow.
so I just decided I was working in the corporate world. I had an executive job, very, very good. But it's more satisfying to work for yourself and set your own hours and do something that's really something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And if I may ask, at the very first time that you decided to run your own business, is this a jewelry business or it is an art business?
Well, my background is graphic design, so there you go. There's some art right there. So I do have quite a background in graphic design, web design, IT as well. And I also worked in fashion. So I was very, I was selling a lot of Italian labels at in the garment district. And I was doing inside sales, and I was working with a lot of different companies, and I was thinking, well, it's going very well, and I wish it was my business, because I was, my efforts were going for the owner, which is good. I learned a lot, but it has helped me to this day. So as a business owner, you have to know it's a 24/7.
Absolutely true.
thing. So you have to know all different things, the sales, the marketing. I did my own trademark filings. Just every business aspect, the bookkeeping, alongside with the creating. And you have to always make sure that you're creating, because if otherwise all the other things can sort of pile up, So my goal and my passion is always to make sure that I'm making new designs, and it's just a wonderful experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I want to know your very first piece of the jewelry that you made. Do you still remember that?
Yes, I do. I made a seahorse actually.
Seahorse?
But it didn't look like a seahorse. It was very abstract. Yeah, I still have it. But I wouldn't really count that as part of my collection. It was just sort of something fun. But I kept it just to refer to it. And I would do a lot of spirals when I started. So, you know, I made like a spiral and then I sort of like an S shape. And I said, okay, that's got to be a seahorse, but it's not really. But from there, I went more realistic and I did wax carving. I started gathering the tools. I took a jewelry class. I went to FIT and also the 92nd Street Y. They have a jewelry school in the Upper East Side. Beautiful place. And so I would go there and use the bench, and I would find that, you know, I'm working away on a tortoise or whatever it is that I'm working on. It was always an animal. And so the designs sort of started to reveal themselves. So I went from seahorse, tortoise, angelfish, butterflies, dragonflies, and very sculptural. And people would sort of gather around my bench and say, "Oh, you know, what are you making? Oh, you know,"
It's
and
all animals.
yeah, but people would notice, like they'd say, "Oh, that's really good," you know, and so I got some very good response from people, you know, and I thought, oh, you know, I should really equip my own home studio because I was going back and forth every day. It was a couple of hours, so I started to get the tools together and build my whole studio, and which is great because, you know, I have lots of room, I have all the tools that I need, and it's also local, so it supports the businesses locally, you know. So, you know, so I have been working in my home studio and it's been very good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's such very interesting, like journey
Thank
for
you.
you. So I really want to know why. It's your the first question is that, do you intend to make all the jewelries to be animals, or it's just like coincidence, or it just come out from your instinct or your imagination? So I want to know about that.
Well, it's a combination of all. That's a great question, and I appreciate it. I mean, my main interest really is I love animals. I don't have any pets really, but that's beside the point. My influence was through my art, my travel. My study of different artists that use animals in their art, and so I mean, I just naturally gravitated towards it, naturally. So. For example, you know, one of the first ones was the unicorn tapestries. The Egyptians, they have leopards in their art, panthers, and I've been asked to make certain species. So, you know, I've done giraffes, tigers, and so it's been quite a journey, and I do really like to make the animal jewelry. Then I sort of switched and I started making flowers. So last year I made some flowers. I tried doing different types, like the pansy, orchid, different flowers, and that was a lot of fun. And you know, I just think that that's just part of me, that you know, it just kind of comes out when I'm creating. Naturally, yes. Yeah.
Well, so everything that you design, all the collections really relate to the nature.
Yes.
The animals, the flowers, all the plants.
Yes.
Wow, okay. So I want to know about the wildlife conservation and your jewelry design.
Yes.
So since you are here in Laos this time to raise awareness about the wildlife conservation. Do I understand correctly?
Absolutely, and you couldn't have said it better. It is an awareness, and I think people really need to hear the message. It was quite a pleasure for me to see the eyes opened of these students today, that they never knew about these concerns, and it's a very important idea to reach the youth, and I think that for students to be aware and become, more active in the community from an early age, so that they're not just hearing about it when they're in college or, last year of high school, but even in grade school. The art that they made was just so inspiring. And something, I didn't say, okay, write this down or put save animals or, they just came up with it, and it was just so original. Each one was so original. And it was such a pleasure to see that, I think community is very important. What happens local goes global. So it has to start somewhere, and with the youth and in the schools and influencing society, it really grows from there.
If I may ask, in your personal opinion, how wildlife matters in society or in our daily life?
Wildlife is very important. It's, there's such a concern about the planet right now, and the use of plastic. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow we plan to use recycled plastic in our project. So it's the next step. There is a push towards removing the use of plastic straws and one-time use plastic in the United States. As I think that you have something similar here. There is a lot of recycling, but still a lot of the plastic and debris ends up in landfills anyway, simply because there's just nowhere to put it, So I think it would be very good to have a lot of biodegradable products and use less packaging. And I'll give you an example. Even just, I brought supplies for the art here, and when I was packing them, I had to weigh it to put in my luggage, and the sheer packaging it adds about a third of the weight. So just for me to get it into my suitcase, but there's so much packaging, and I don't think it's necessary. I think that it should be reduced. It's just like you see it once and then you throw it away. Same with water bottles, straws, and lids for coffee cups, and all kinds of things. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it might be a very childish question, but what is wildlife?
What is wildlife?
If our listeners are even listening.
Okay, so if somebody asked me that, okay, what is wildlife? Well, wildlife is an animal, personally, that I would not want to be in the same room with unsupervised, because it's, first of all, in a way, it's interesting, because I'm saying, well, maybe I would be in danger, but in fact, they are the ones that are in danger. And, you see videos of people petting wild animals, or doing things like with hedgehogs, and it's actual animal abuse, because even though it looks like, they're petting or they're feeding this animal, it's really not good for it. Animals should be in the wild, away from humans, living their lives.
They should live in their own place.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be used as food unless it's for real necessity.
Yeah, so in your opinion, wildlife is the animals that live in the
wild.
In the wild. Yeah, that makes sense.
Without being bothered by human interaction. In terms of zoos, circuses, or any other exploitation.
All right, that's an answer. That's enough for you, because I have seen that many people have a different definition of the wildlife. Some people will say that this is wildlife, or some people will include all the natural plants that can be one of the wildlife. So in your opinion, like, wildlife is the animal that live in the wild. They should away from the people.
Well, in fact, it's for their own safety, because humans are a danger to them, and they should just live their lives and not be trapped or used as pets or eaten, or have their skins for decoration. So it's really important, and it's been happening through ancient history. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'll stick to it.
Yeah. Of course you can. So,
Yeah.
even me ask about your jury. So, what do you think? How your jury relate and can raise awareness about the wildlife conservation? The jury and the wildlife conservation. How it's like relate to each other?
Well, basically, I have made some jewelry that is based on endangered wildlife. Not really connected with a cause per se, but leopards, tigers, giraffes, elephants, those are some of them. And I do plan to create a collection based on this experience and really, spread the word.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to see that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So do you think it is necessary if we wear the jewelry that have the animal logo, like for example you're wearing a bee necklace, or people will have like the butterfly earrings, for example? This is help people to raise awareness about the wildlife?
Well, people wear animal jewelry because they like it. So I'll see, okay, somebody will say, oh, I love butterflies or I love elephants, just a personal taste. It is really important, though, to attach it to a cause. So, yes, it is very good to include it in corporate advertising if it can raise funds and awareness and spread the word. Usually it would be in an insignia form or a corporate logo or something of that nature. Yeah.
If you have the raise awareness, like I would say, indirect way to see that people still remember the nature. People still like use animal as a signal, some logo of some important thing.
Well, yes, if it's recognizable and people say, okay, that's such and such. Like, for example, the panda with World Wildlife Fund. I mean, everybody knows that, and it's a very recognizable symbol, and it's such a success because of that. So that's a very good example.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very good conversation right here, but I think we should take a little bit break. If our listeners out there, if you have any question, any kind of question that you want to ask Michele, please feel free to drop your questions. It can be your thoughts, your opinions, or anything that you want to share with us. You can send to us right now to our Facebook Live, Lao Youth Radio. We are living. You will see the atmosphere in our studio now. You see how fast, you see my fast, our conversation. And of course, we don't want to talk like just only two people. We want to interact more with all of you. If you have any questions, please send us the questions. I think, should take a little bit break?
Okay, absolutely. That sounds great.
Okay.
All right.
I will be the one who choose this song for you.
Oh, great.
It's if we translate into the English, would be the value of the time.
How important is that?
Yeah, it's very important. Time, it's very, very important.
Yes.
เนาะในผลงานเพลงนี้คุณค่าของเวลาไปหาฟังกันก่อน We will right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Okay.
เพียงหลับตาก็คิดถึงภาพเก่าๆอยู่กับความเหงาและค่ำคืนที่เดียวดายและภายในหัวใจยังมีแต่เธอเสมอและยังคิดละเมอถึงภาพเราก็รู้ว่าเวลามันต้องหมุนเวียนไปแต่มาต้นเท่าใดหัวใจบ่มีเปลี่ยนพันและก็รู้ว่าความจริงเจ้านั้นจากไปแต่ว่าไกลเท่าใดหัวใจก็ยังห่วงหาเพียงหลับตานอนคิดถึงคุณค่าเวลาที่มันจางหายไป เสียเจ้าไปและในวันนี้คอยต้องทนอยู่กับความเหงาและในทุกค่ำคืนได้เพียงข่มหลับตานอนกับภาพสะท้อนของเรื่องเฮายังบ่จางหายไปก็หูว่าเวลามันต้องหมุนเวียนไปแต่ว่าต้นเท่าใดหัวใจบ่มีเปลี่ยนพันและก็หูว่าความจริงเจ้านั้นจากไปแต่ว่าไกลเท่าใดหัวใจก็ยังห่วงหาเพียงหลับตานอนคิดถึงคุณค่าเวลาที่มันจางหายไปและในวันนี้บ่มีเจ้าคืนกลับมาได้รู้ว่าเจ้ามีค่าเพียงใดในวันที่เสียเจ้าไปและในวันนี้คอยต้องทนอยู่กับความเหงาคิดถึงคุณค่าเวลาที่มันจางหายไปและในวันนี้บ่มีเจ้าคืนกลับมาได้รู้ว่าเจ้ามีค่าเพียงใดในวันที่เสียเจ้าไปและในวันนี้คอยต้องทนอยู่กับความเหงาคิดถึงคุณค่าเวลาที่มันจางหายไปและในวันนี้บ่มีเจ้าคืนกลับมาได้รู้ว่าเจ้ามีค่าเพียงใดในวันที่เสียเจ้าไปและในวันนี้คอยต้องทนอยู่กับความเหงา
Feels good in my heart, in my soul when you're right here beside me. I don't ever want this day to end. We can watch the waves, have a coke and just sit here beside me. Take a little on my heart again.
Welcome back Welcome back เนาะจบไปแล้วสำหรับหนึ่งผลงานเพลงคุณค่าของเวลา The Value of the Time it's a precious thing
Yes.
it's a priceless it's everything we just can't turn back the time
That's for sure.
it's absolutely true and I'm super happy to spend 1 hour with you
Thank you. Me too. I'm very happy to
That's
be
an
here.
honor. That's an honor that you come to join us. I know that you're working for the whole day, but in the evening you
it's
still
fine.
come.
This isn't work. it's fun. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, we have the questions
Yes.
from our listeners on the Facebook Live. Are you ready to answer?
I'm ready.
Okay, I will start from the question. Emilia Short. Emilia, hi, are you listening? She asking about what has been your experience working with Lao students. Did they make any art that surprised you?
As a matter of fact, they did. You know, I think that this was a real big eye-opener, and so their level of creativity was amazing, and I learned from them. I'm teaching them how to use some of the tools, and then they took it upon themselves to innovate. And so one of them, we did a mesh with clay, and it's a tile square where you paint, and it's mixed media, so you use paper, beads, clay, and all kinds of materials to make a nice picture of some sort. It's a 2 or 3D design, basically, depending on how much you add to it. And so one of the students made a leopard which pops out like 3D, the face. Another, used beads just so real surprisingly to make a portrait. And also, I was asking them, have you ever made a collage? They didn't know what a collage was. Some of these students had never done art before. Others are art students, so it was a nice combination. And so it was just so interesting to see what they made. Each and every piece was so different from the next. I have something, it's a clay machine, so you run the clay through and it makes it nice and smooth. Perfect. And so one of the students, she took the mesh. I was showing them how to add silver leaf, which looks so nice when you add it to the clay. She takes it with the mesh and she puts the whole thing through with the mesh. And I was like, oh no, and it turned out perfect. And then she kept running it through and I said, okay, just, don't, it'll be good the first 2 or 3 times, but then it might break or something. But it turned out perfectly. Another student, we're going to be using plastic bottles tomorrow. So he took one of the bottles, which we're going to work with, and he put his on it because he wanted the leopard's face to be 3D. So, we sort of reshaped it because if it sits that way, it's going to crack. So, we were sort of talking about it, and it's a lot of experimentation. And there's no right or wrong reason to do it in a certain way. You just try things. And I found that the students were really open to that. And trying new materials and coming up with new ways to do things. So, it's interesting to teach, and it's also great that I can learn to see it, from what they're doing. Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see like art piece, like the one that you said, the leopard, the mask. I want to see that.
Yeah. I was very impressed.
Which
with,
one?
that
yeah.
One? That's one of the. It's a real close up where you see the eyes of the leopard. Beautiful. Yeah, that was done by one of the art students. Yeah.
You know what? I'm kind of worried because like tomorrow, if our listeners they want to join the workshop, but they have no idea about the art or making like this kind of stuff before, how can they join? So it's
my gosh. Yeah. Tomorrow's really going to be a continuation. But if somebody comes, they can bring a water bottle and I'll show them how to paint it. You can melt it and paint it. It doesn't give off any fumes. It's very sustainable. And that's one thing that they might enjoy. If they bring their water bottle, then they have their material.
So everybody can join.
Yeah, just let me know, because if 100 people show up, I'm going to be, okay. But, it'll be fun anyway to see people.
Just learn and experiment with you. Okay. And we have one question.
Sure.
One question from the Facebook Live.
Great. Can't wait to hear it.
This person asking about, in many parts of the world, poverty can link to the wildlife trade and wildlife hunting. How can we raise awareness of wildlife protection through arts, and many locals are giving more weights on their surviving?
Yes, well, that's a very good question. So when somebody is experiencing poverty, obviously they're hungry. So I don't disagree with somebody going hunting in order to feed themselves or their family. What I think is not good is if people go hunting for sport, and there are ways to do that where you see people driving around with their gun, and that's not right, because it's not really a level playing field. The animal has no chance to survive.
It's not fair for them.
Exactly. And so if there's hunting going on and it's to sustain life, and if somebody is experiencing poverty, if they live in the urban areas, that's understandable. But it's not right to take parts of the animal and sell them. That's not right. So.
Yeah. As long as you hunt the animal for your surviving.
Yes.
For
eat.
Overcome the hunger. So it's fine in your opinion.
Absolutely. Yes, it is, because I mean that's since the beginning of time with indigenous people, and even to this day, people who are indigenous have rights to hunt certain animals, and much more than people who have not lived in that land for as long. So it is understandable, and it should be allowed.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Thank you.
We have more questions.
Yes.
Emily Shaw again. She said that students sound amazing. Do you think they learn anything about wildlife trafficking? Do you have the chance to talk about it?
Well, the fact is that, I saw messages in their art. It says "Save Wildlife." Basically they had a very good experience, and they really gave it a lot of thought in their work. I gave them the option of making any design or putting an animal in there. For the most part, in almost every single case, everybody put an animal's face or a few animals in their work, either as a image transfer, inkjet, or using beads or collage, and just different experimental works. So I was very pleased with the results. And I think, yes, they got the real message to put that out there to save wildlife. So it wasn't just an art for art's sake experience. They really put a lot of thought into it. Yeah.
Interesting. And you know what, this question from the Facebook username BlackmanLVS, it's kind of related to the question that I want to ask you. Since in Laos circumstance, many people still eating the wildlife. They're still eating the wildlife. It becomes, and people get used to, and it becomes a wildlife eating culture. And some people, they believe that some of the wildlife are the traditional medicine.
Yes.
So how can we raise awareness to this group of people?
Well, that's a very good question, and I think that the answer is to reach the youth, which is what happened today. I have a feeling that a lot of these youth had not been exposed to that idea before. It was new to them. It, like I said earlier, it was an eye-opener. And I think that because we're working with students of, they're at the end of high school or they're in college, I think it would be even more also good to reach people at a younger age. And so if there were school programs that would teach these things, it wouldn't be a surprise later on to find these things out. There should be awareness in the community, and it should be as part of everyday programming in school, especially if people are being taught humanities, social studies, civic responsibility, and basically it should be part of everyday life. So.
You mean like the new generation, they need to know more about that.
Absolutely.
They need to be educated about the wildlife.
Yeah, I mean it's just like with the overuse of plastic, like we were talking about earlier. Same with wildlife. Wildlife should be out in the wild. It should not be in a circus, a zoo, or in a market. For I mean, I understand that certain medicinal purposes, it's a tradition, and on the one hand, yes, you want to respect tradition. On the other hand, it's sort of like learning what's happening with the wildlife, and that they're very endangered. And so if they become extinct, well, then what's the point? You have this medicinal purpose and everything else, but it wouldn't be accessible anyway. So Yeah.
It's not sustainable at all.
It has to be there. Sustainability should be taught in school at a grade level. I think, especially now with the climate control, with the climate concerns going on and things like that.
Yeah, we should talk about this topic a lot in order
Yes.
to make it more viral.
Yes.
To make many people get used to with this kind of the word and get used to with the concept of the wildlife conservation.
Yes.
But what about the art? How can we use the art to be the tool to raise this topic up?
Well, it's very good to use a recognizable symbol that people can identify with, and I think that that could be something that could be explored by the youth, because their minds are open. They're going to create something unusual, and you know, it's there has to be a lot of cooperation with trusting them to come up with the answer, because first expose them to the idea, experiment, and then see what they come up with. And I think that if there's an image that would be well recognized, it would be great. Like the World Wildlife Panda, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know that this topic is very big. It's
very big.
very big. But I'm still feel honored that it's very like good for having you in the program as the person, as the artist, to try
thank
the
you.
best to raise awareness about this topic. So as I say earlier in the beginning of the program, that not only people who directly work in this field can save the environment, everyone. You can be the great example that see the jewelry designer can raise awareness about the wildlife conservation.
Thank you.
And what about us? We have so many tasks, so many careers in our life. How can we adapt and adjust your career to raise awareness something and make this social change? So I think you are a great example of
Well,
that.
thank you. It's an honor for me to participate in this, and a learning experience as well. It's just really all around a great experience.
Yeah. If I may ask about your next collection.
Well, my next collection, I've already made leopards, so that
Leopard?
is but the other animals that we've covered, some of them were not really familiar to me, like the sun bear.
Sun bear.
Now I've been asked to make bears. People ask me, can you make this? Can you make that? So I was exploring bears as one of my subject matters. But the sun bear is just so beautiful, and so is the pangolin. And, so there's so many choices there. And people love the elephants. I make elephants.
Yeah.
So
So how can we keep in touch with you and see your all collections?
Well, my website is michellebenjamin.com. If you want to find me, it's #MichelleBenjamin. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social media. Twitter.
All the social media platform.
Yeah, it's not hard to find me.
Oh, okay.
So.
Just search by typing Michele Benjamin.
That's correct. Yes.
And we will see all your masterpieces.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Well, it's on Google. You can just Google me, and you'll see a lot of images, and also just different, publicity, runway, been in fashion shows, things like that. Yeah.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
I have, because I have to post to Google also. I get reminders. They'll say, it's been a week. You have to, I have reminders set and things like that. So yeah, I do a lot of social media and marketing, advertising, things like that.
I love that.
Thank
you
you.
try to approach to the many people as many as possible. That's a good thing to raise awareness about this certain topic. Yeah.
Well, this is a very important topic and very important to me, and so I'm just very happy to be part of it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for
Oh my goodness, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
But before I let you go,
Yes.
I still have one activity.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear.
Are you ready for that?
Yes, I'm ready.
I have one box right here. Excuse me.
Oh.
It's called super challenging questions.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's a Miss Universe question.
Okay.
So you
That
got a
should be
chance
fun.
to try to be a Miss Universe.
Oh my goodness. What is
Just
it?
pick one question. And I will
I hope they're
ask
good.
you.
Okay.
Oh, it's all good questions.
Did I win the lottery?
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like this one. This question is in Lao, but I will try my best to translate to you.
Okay. At least.
This question say that what will you do if you know that many people don't like you?
I wouldn't do anything because that's life, you know. You can't please everybody. And if you do, then you're not being yourself. So I learned a long time ago that that's the truth. And, you know, it's sort of like you're walking, right? And then you say, well, do you want me to walk like this? Do you want me to walk, you know? It's sort of like you have to put one foot in front of the other every day and just move forward and not worry about what people think. And I think that's the best thing because if you change, then people will try to change you more and they'll say, well, I didn't really like the way you did that, or you know. So I just sort of think it's good just to believe in yourself and be positive, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
So as a jewelry designer, have you ever received the question or maybe the feedback from your customers? I mean the bad feedback from them, and how do you handle with that?
Well, actually, I have to tell you, I've been very fortunate. I don't really get a lot of negative feedback. I mean, I totally am fine. You know, if somebody has something where they said, oh, here's one. Actually, about a week ago, I got a return because somebody was allergic to sterling silver. They said, oh, you know, I bought this for my girlfriend, but I just learned that she doesn't wear sterling. She's allergic. Now that's kind of unusual, but I was like, okay, you know, no problem. You know, it's just part of business, and at the same time, I just haven't really had a lot of negative, but I count myself fortunate for that. You know, I do really want to please the customer, so when I create something, I really check it 3 or 4 times really closely to make sure that it's the highest quality, flawless, really good. Some pieces just don't turn out. So like when you're casting, so you just set them aside and you make a new one, or you know, you can improve it. And so all the pieces that I make, I really have a very high standard of quality control. So it's been very good in that way. Yeah.
That's a very good mindset for everybody who do anything in life. Yeah, you need to do the best in everything that you do.
Yeah.
And if it turn out like good for you as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
But before we say goodbye, do you have anything that you want to say with our audiences or our listeners out there about your products, your arts, or the wildlife conservation, please?
Yes, well, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure for me to be here in Laos. It's my first visit to Asia, and it's been just a wonderful experience. Everybody's been so wonderful and very friendly, and I hope to come back again soon.
And so,
yeah, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming. And as I said, I need to say in Lao, okay, in this part ดีเจอีกครั้งหนึ่งเนาะก่อนที่เราจะจากกันคืออันนี้ก็เป็นหนึ่งใน example ที่ว่าดีท่านมิเชลเบนจามินเพิ่นเป็น jewelry designer แต่ว่าเพิ่นมาเพื่อ พื่อมาสร้างความเข้าใจเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของการปกปักรักษา wildlife หรือ wildlife conservation เนาะคือที่เราเห็นนี่แหละว่าบ่แม่นแต่คนที่เฮ็ดเวียกเกี่ยวกับการปกปักรักษาสิ่งแวดล้อมเท่านั้นจะเฮ็ดเวียกเกี่ยวกับ wildlife conservation ได้ทุกคนสามารถเฮ็ดได้คือเพิ่นเป็น jewelry designer เพิ่นก็ยังเฮ็ดเวียกตัวนี้ได้ด้วยการที่ว่าออกแบบ jewelry ให้มันมีความเป็นมีตัวสัตว์เข้ามามีสิ่งแวดล้อมเข้ามาเวลาลูกค้าที่ว่าซื้อไปเนาะก็จะได้สัมผัสได้ว่ากระเจ้ายังติดพันกับสิ่งแวดล้อมอยู่แล้วท่านเดตอนนี้อาชีพของท่านเป็นหยังนักเรียนอาจารย์นักธุรกิจหรืออาชีพของท่านเป็นหยังท่านได้ประกอบส่วนเขาในการปกปักรักษาสิ่งแวดล้อมโดยเฉพาะเรื่องของสัตว์ป่าแล้วบ่ลองเบิ่งเนาะว่าเฮาสามารถประกอบส่วนอีหยังช่วยกันได้แน่เพื่อเฮานี่แหละเพื่อเฮาเองแล้วก็เพื่อลูกหลานของเฮาที่จะได้เห็นตัวสัตว์ที่เพิ่นควรจะเห็นบ่แม่นว่าเห็นแต่อยู่ในรูปตัวจริงบ่พัดบ่เห็นซ้ำอันนั้นก็ซั่นก็บ่เอาเนาะ so I just translate all the things that we have conversation today into the 2 or 3 sentences.
That's quite a feat.
I just say that everyone should contribute to wildlife conservation, not just only people who work in this area, not just only environmentalists working in this area can do this. Everybody need to contribute to this.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much again. Thank you for all listeners out there. ขอบใจหลายๆเนาะที่ให้เกียรติติดตามรับฟัง Thank you for all the questions from anybody who want to rewatch this video. Check out on our Facebook page, Lao Youth Radio. This video will be there forever. You can rewatch 100 times. If you think it's very useful for you, just click like and share to your Facebook friends, no? For today, thank you so much again. Me, myself, DJ Dada, our special guest, Michele Benjamin. Thank you for coming. ขอบใจแล้วก็ขอบใจสปอนเซอร์ของเราพร้อมขอบใจมายัง Coca-Cola Chesterfield ขอบใจมายัง Sky Telecom เนาะ very fast and smooth internet connection ever โทรหาเพิ่นได้1833เนาะโทรหาเพิ่นโลดส่วนวันนี้ไปแล้วหมดเวลาแล้วพบกันใหม่โอกาสหน้าเนาะสำหรับวันนี้ไปก่อนบาย